it's Matt, and today I will be reading to you facts about various films. And as usual, I've found these facts around the internet on various websites, so I can't guarantee that they're all completely accurate, but they mostly seem pretty plausible to me, so hopefully they are. Anyway, without any further ado, let's get started. The alien language in District 9 was created by rubbing a pumpkin. According to the Internet Movie Database, the 3 lowest rated movies of all time are currently Code Name KOZ, Super Babies, Baby Geniuses 2, and Saving Christmas. The 3 highest rated movies of all time are currently The Shawshank Redemption, The Godfather, and The Godfather Part 2. Because of contractual obligations related to the source material, the role of John McClane from Die Hard first had to be offered to Frank Sinatra. He was 73 years old at the time. The Joker's theme music in The Dark Knight was inspired by the sound a razor blade makes on piano wire. Comedian George Carlin voiced the character of Fillmore in the movie Cars. Fillmore's license plate reads 51237, which corresponds to George's date of birth, May 12th, 1937. Several scenes in Braveheart had to be reshot because some of the extras were wearing wristwatches and sunglasses. The popularity of the Blair Witch Project led to an increase in the number of people hiking through the woods. As a result, many animals were scared away, causing one of the worst hunting seasons on record. The Birth of a Nation, released in 1915, was the first major movie to get a sequel, which was called The Fall of a Nation. It was released 1 year later in 1916. I actually took a film class in which I had to watch The Birth of a Nation, and I have to say it is probably the most racist film I have ever seen in my life. If I remember correctly, it is about the KKK saving the day from a bunch of white actors in black makeup. And it is excruciatingly boring, but I guess from a historical standpoint it was pretty significant as far as the type of movie and how huge and hyped up it was. It was the first, or one of the first major events in movie form, I guess. But anyway, let's continue. The Bible and Planet of the Apes are the only 2 G-rated movies to feature nudity. The movie Beverly Hills Cop featured a made-up technology called a satellite tracking system, which eventually became a real thing once GPS was invented years later. In 2002, the comic version of Nick Fury from the Avengers was designed to look like Samuel L. Jackson, making him the perfect actor to play the part for the Marvel films created many years later. Allegedly, James Cameron kept a nail gun on the set of Avatar, so he could confiscate any cell phones that rang on set during a take and nail them to the wall. Ripley from Alien was originally meant to be a man. The part was eventually given to a woman because audiences at the time would not expect the lone survivor to be female. The movie Airplane was given several different titles in different countries. In Argentina, it was called And Where is the Pilot? In Brazil, it was called Tighten Up Your Seatbelt, the Pilot's Gone. In Spain, it was called Land as You Can. In Norway, it was called Help, We're Flying. In France, it was called Is There a Pilot on This Plane? And in Germany, it was called The Incredible Trip on a Crazy Airplane. The word zombie is never used in Night of the Living Dead. I feel like it's also not been used in The Walking Dead. I could be wrong, but I don't remember it. In Monty Python and the Holy Grail, the scenes where coconuts are used to make horse galloping sounds were done out of necessity, as the production team could not afford actual horses. Billy Crystal accepted the role of Mike in Monsters Incorporated because he'd rejected the role of Woody in Toy Story and considered that to be the worst decision of his career. In The Matrix, every scene that takes place inside the Matrix is tinted slightly green. The first American movies released on VHS were MASH, The Sound of Music, and Patton. They were released in 1977 and cost between $50 and $90. Christopher Lee was the only member of the cast and crew of The Lord of the Rings to meet J.R.R. Tolkien himself. In Lilo and Stitch, Stitch's dog license contains a thank you note to the animators at Disney's MGM Studios. In the Iron Man movies, the name Jarvis is an acronym that stands for Just a Rather Very Intelligent System. In Inception, the characters set a specific song to play on headphones when it's almost time for them to wake up. A large portion of the movie's soundtrack is based on a slowed-down version of this song because the characters would hear it in slow motion while in a dream. Sean Connery's opening voiceover for Highlander has an echo because it was recorded in a bathroom. The protagonist in Fight Club, played by Edward Norton, is never given a name. The Munchkins in The Wizard of Oz were paid $50 a week for a 6-day work week. Toto the dog was paid $125. Roald Dahl, the original author of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, hated the movie version of his story. As a result, he did not allow the sequel to be adapted. The interior design of the Axiom in Wall-E was partly inspired by the architecture of Disney theme parks. James Cameron has spent more time at the wreck of the Titanic than its actual passengers spent on the ship before it sank. O.J. Simpson was meant to play the role of the Terminator, but the studio was worried that audiences wouldn't see him as a remorseless killer because he was too nice. Marlon Brando refused to memorize his lines for Superman. In the scene where he speaks to baby Superman, he reads his lines written on a diaper. The snow-covered hedge maze set from The Shining was constructed on a soundstage with no air conditioning in the middle of summer, making it extremely hot. The shadow of Doug the dog appears in Ratatouille, which was released several years before Up. Many of the extras used in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest were actual mental hospital patients. The concepts for A Bug's Life, Finding Nemo, Monsters Incorporated, and Wall-E were all created by a few Pixar employees during a single lunch in 1994. The original script for Ghostbusters was set in the future, where Ghostbusters were a typical part of society, just like firefighters and policemen. Bill Murray almost played the role of Batman, but plans were changed after Tim Burton joined the production. Christian Bale's portrayal of Patrick Bateman in American Psycho was partly based on Tom Cruise. and his very intense friendliness with nothing behind the eyes during interviews. The filming of No Country for Old Men was delayed due to a smoke cloud from the set of There Will Be Blood. Both movies received critical acclaim and were often associated after release. The sirens heard in the casino scene in Swingers were real police cars coming to stop the filmmakers who were filming without a permit. That one sounds like it may be false, but I'm not sure. In the Beatles movie A Hard Day's Night, the band's name is never mentioned. The first American film to show a toilet flushing was Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. Showgirls holds the record for the film with the most Razzie Award nominations, which are reserved for the worst movies of the year. The Dark Knight made more money in its first 6 days than Batman Begins made in its entire domestic run. The highest grossing horror franchise of all time is the Saw series, which collectively made nearly $1 billion globally. The androids in the Alien movies have been named alphabetically. Their names are Ash, Bishop, Call, and David. The director of Drive failed his driving test 8 times. The cigarette Sigourney Weaver smokes in Avatar was completely CGI. In It's a Wonderful Life, the names of the taxi driver and policeman are Bert and Ernie. Put together, the first initials of the characters in The Prestige spell A-B-R-A, as in abracadabra. In Inception, the characters' initials spell D-R-E-A-M-S, dreams. Over 90% of the movies made in America before 1929 have been lost, with no copies known to exist. The word mafia is never used in The Godfather because the actual mafia demanded that it not be used. Movie trailers used to play after each film, hence the name trailers. The budget for the movie Titanic was higher than the cost of the ship itself. That's another one that sounds kind of fishy to me. Bruce Lee was so fast that several action shots of his were slowed down in order to make his moves easier to follow. In America, movie theater popcorn costs more per ounce than filet mignon. Each year, Nigeria makes more movies than America. The F word is used 265 times in Pulp Fiction. China has banned the depiction of time travel in movies and TV. In the 2014 film Godzilla, Godzilla is only seen for 8 minutes. Before acting, Bruce Willis worked as a private investigator. The stunt doubles for Tom Hardy and Charlize Theron on the set of Mad Max Fury Road fell in love and have since gotten married. The time machine in Back to the Future was originally supposed to be a refrigerator, not a DeLorean. When Charlie Chaplin accepted his honorary Oscar, he received the longest standing ovation in Oscar history at 12 minutes. The 1985 movie Clue had 3 different endings with a random ending given to each theater. When adjusted for inflation, Gone with the Wind is the highest grossing movie of all time. The script for Ferris Bueller's Day Off was written in only 6 days. In the 1920s and early 1930s, there were more female screenwriters than male ones. Actor Sean Bean's characters have died in 32% of his movies. This is the highest percentage of character deaths among any major living actor. The "no animals were harmed" disclaimer found during the credits of movies only applies to events that happen during the actual recording of a film. That seems kind of fishy. Like they can put that on and still get away with harming animals when the cameras aren't rolling. I mean, I doubt they do that, but it's one of those unfortunate technicalities, I guess. Morgan Freeman was 52 years old when he got his first major role. Although Clint Eastwood has played characters who smoke heavily in several films, he has never smoked habitually in real life. Since the release of the first Harry Potter movie, over 500 babies have been named Hermione. Since 1951, a sound effect known as the Wilhelm Scream has been used in hundreds of movies and TV shows. It has become a sort of inside joke among people in the film industry. This is one of those things where if you're not familiar with it, I would suggest looking it up, because once you hear the Wilhelm Scream, you'll notice it everywhere. It is used in so many movies, and it's always funny to hear it, because you can pick it out of all the other sounds. It's really funny. At least to me it is. Michael Myers' mask in Halloween was actually a Captain Kirk mask, painted white and altered slightly. The carpet pattern in Sid's house in Toy Story matches the pattern of the carpet in the hotel in The Shining. In Raiders of the Lost Ark, Indiana Jones was originally meant to fight the Arab swordsman. After coming to work ill, they decided to just have him shoot the swordsman because he wasn't feeling up to fighting. The Lord of the Rings: Return of the King won all 11 Academy Awards it was nominated for. Spirited Away is the only non-Western film to win an Academy Award for Best Animated Feature. For the 1982 version of The Thing, the entire cast and crew was male. The film industry moved from New York to Los Angeles in order to avoid Thomas Edison's patents on film technology. Before Keanu Reeves accepted the role of Neo in The Matrix, the part was offered to Will Smith, Nicolas Cage, Tom Cruise, Johnny Depp, and Leonardo DiCaprio. And that is about it for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you